everyone, and welcome to our first day of Weekday Wonders. Today is Monday's practice, which is yoga for the upper body. So we'll be doing a little bit of work with our shoulders, arms, wrists and upper back today. And we'll begin when you're ready in extended child's pose. We'll take our knees roughly as wide as our mat and begin to walk our hands forward, looking past the edge of our fingertips and bringing our heart down towards the earth. You have the option here of resting your head maybe on a block or a pillow, maybe stacking your fists and resting your head there, or perhaps bringing your forehead down towards the ground. Once you've found yourself in your chosen position for starting our practice, we'll begin, as always, focusing on our breath, following it as we breathe in and out through our nose. Maybe beginning to notice the soft opening across our shoulders and shoulder blades, or allowing one to be created with our next exhale. And bringing attention to our lower back and then the sides of our body, and noticing the space, openness, and release of tension we've created here just by coming into our child's pose. Slowly bringing our head ever so slightly up and our hands up onto fingertips. We'll walk our fingertips over to the left-hand side, and on an exhale, release our head back down towards the mat. Feeling slightly different this time, as we're slightly more compressed in the left-hand side body, maybe more leaning against our left leg. As you inhale, feel the expansion in between each of the ribs on the right-hand side body and across the right hip. And then slowly bringing yourself up and moving over to the other side. Noticing the contrast between the two different sides of the body, still finding length both in the right and left-hand side, but more openness and fullness when you breathe in on the left-hand side. Notice if you're holding on in your hips, and maybe on your next exhale, allowing your bum to release and relax a little bit closer towards your heel. Or just feel that sensation of letting go. And when we're ready, we'll move our hands back to center and bring ourselves up to sit on our heels. We're going to do a few wrist stretches and hopefully wrist strengtheners. There will be a couple options where if your wrists are a little tender, you don't have to be leaning on your hands on the ground. I'll show you a different option where you can be sat up on your heels or on your bum. And we'll begin by taking our fingertips and we're going to hold them out away from each other and bring them down to the floor. You don't have to be in proper all fours, but your bum is probably lifted away from your heels at this point in time. You're going to think of really spreading your fingertips and firmly planting your fingerprints into the mat. When we Inhale, we're going to lift our palms up, trying to keep our fingers as much as possible on the mat below. And then exhale, we'll bring down. Inhale, lift up the palms of the hand, feeling a nice stretch across the front of the fingers. And exhale to release. You can keep matching with your inhales and exhales, or you can start to do it a tiny bit quicker. I'll do a few of these in your own time, finding what feels good for you, but remembering to try and keep your fingerprints firmly planted, because that activation of those muscles in our hands and wrists are what are going to help to strengthen as well as stretch. You might start to feel this in the upper arms. We'll come off our hands for a second and we'll turn our fingertips facing in towards each other and come back down to repeat the same movement. I do find that my coordination on one side goes a little bit funny and I get a thumb that likes to flail around when I take the fingertips inwards. Just being aware of that, not judging yourself or worrying that things are sometimes slightly different when you mix it up. Coming back again, and this time fingertips are going to be facing in towards your knees, like so. Now when you do press those fingerprints down into the mat, you may already feel quite a strong stretch along the front of your wrist. If it's too strong and it's not working for you, you can sit back and reach your hand out like so. If you'd like a little bit more, you can slowly start to move your bum back towards your heels. Maybe paying attention to other parts of the subtle body, so maybe thinking of not having your belly button towards the ground, but engaging your core a little bit. Maybe a little bit of movement where we slowly rock forward and back. Releasing, and this time placing the tops of our hands down on the mat, fingertips still facing towards the knee. And having a little rock again back and forth if that feels good. If not, we can be sat back on our heels, pulling our fingertips towards us like so. Releasing this. Coming back to sit on our heels or our bums on the ground, whatever's more comfortable. We'll give our wrists a little bit of a massage, a little bit of a circle. And we're going to do some wrist flicks. So I'm going to take my arms up to shoulder height. And I'm going to be really purposeful in my movements. So I'm going to take my thumb and put it over my fingers and I'm going to flick out as if I'm trying to flick a bug off my arm, for example. And I'm slowly going to make some movement in my shoulders and my upper arms and flick purposely all the way up to the ceiling. We'll come back down again. You should feel this in the arms as well as the wrists. Next time we come up to the top, we'll start to just do circles with the wrists as we come down. Maybe back up again. And then allowing your arms to come out to shoulder height for some shoulder circles. So circling the arms forward. Really purposeful with our hands again, so they're not just kind of flopping around, but they're pulling out in opposite directions. And the other direction. Maybe forward again, but slightly bigger circles. And back. Releasing down, give yourself a little bit of a shake out, and we'll come onto all fours for our cat-cow. Taking our wrists so they're roughly beneath our shoulders, and our knees so they're roughly beneath our hips. Again, thinking of spreading the fingertips wide, firmly planting the fingerprints into the mat, and thinking of that lift where we rise the front body up to meet the back body. We'll inhale and draw our belly button down, taking our gaze up towards the sky. And exhale to round the back up like an angry cat, chin to chest. Inhaling again, belly button down towards the ground, gaze moving up towards the sky. And exhaling to round the back up like an angry cat, chin to chest, pushing up in between those shoulder blades. We'll continue this for a few rounds of breath in your own time. Maybe allowing yourself to think about the shoulder blades and what they're doing with each movement. So the inhale, the shoulder blades drawing together and you're still lifting up out of the ground. And the exhales, the shoulder blades are spreading across the back, allowing you to lift up into that space in between. After our next exhale, we'll come to our flat back or neutral spine. And we're going to start to walk our hands out in front of us like we did with our extended child's pose. Looking out past our fingertips, thinking of melting the heart towards the ground. And you do, as always, have the option of resting your forehead down on a pillow, on a block, on your hands stacked, as you begin to melt your heart down towards the earth. Trying to keep your hips roughly above your knees here. It's okay if they're slightly further forward, but if they're stacked more above your knees, you have a little bit more stability and you're not putting pressure leaning forward. Maybe walking the fingertips and the arms a little bit further forward so you can feel the stretch along the arms, the upper back and the shoulders. And as you exhale, each exhale takes your heart softening more and more towards the earth. Noticing the length along both sides of your torso. The openness in the front body, particularly when you breathe in. Noticing that extra space you've created for your nice deep inhales. And we'll slowly begin to walk our hands back towards our body to our all fours. You may choose to take your knees a little bit wider and the toes slightly touching, like in our extended child's pose. And we're going to take our left hand and pop it on our left shoulder. Now I'm still thinking of lifting up through the right hand, making sure I'm not dumping down. And I'm going to take my left elbow and raise it up towards the sky as I have a little look up towards the ceiling too. Bringing the elbow back down to face towards the ground. And inhale rises us up. And exhale down. This time we'll inhale, elbow up towards the sky. Release the hand, and as we exhale, we're going to scoop it underneath the right hand and right arm, bringing our left shoulder and left ear down towards the mat. With your right hand, it can be just beside you, helping to support you. It can be out overhead, up on fingertips. Or you can wrap it around your back if you want some more openness across the front of the right shoulder. Having the knees a little bit wider tends to help with a bit of stability and balance here. And this time noticing as you breathe how the breath flows slightly differently, as we've got a slight twist we've created in our upper body. Releasing and making your way back up to being on both hands. We'll take our right hand to our right shoulder. Remembering we're lifting up out of the ground. We'll inhale the right elbow up towards the sky and exhale down. Inhale to rise up and exhale, elbow down. Inhaling, rising up, and this time as we exhale we'll scoop the left arm or the right arm underneath the left, bringing our left shoulder and our left ear to the ground. our right, oh, our left, I'm getting all my lefts and rights mixed up. Our left hand can be planted, up on fingertips overhead, or wrapped around our back for a stretch across the front of the left shoulder. Eyes can remain open or closed. Focusing back on our breath. And whenever you come to your last exhale, we'll come back up to our all fours, taking our knees roughly hip distance. And same with our feet. Bringing the front body up to meet the back body, curling the back toes under. We'll hover our knees just for a second and bring our bum up and back so we come into down dog. And feeling that length in our upper body. Maybe having a little adjust to the hands, so you can make them a little bit wider if that's more comfortable. You can have a little pedal of the feet, do like a little bit of movement and stretch the back of the legs. On an inhale, we'll firmly plant the left foot and rise the right leg up towards the sky. And bring our right foot forward to come into a low lunge. Inhaling the arms up towards the sky when we're ready. Releasing the hands down, we'll interlace them behind our backs and see if we can pull our palms down and then away from our body. Our shoulder blades drawing together, our heart opening towards the front of the room. Inhaling to think of standing up nice and tall, and exhaling maybe to ease ourselves a bit more into our lunge. Gently releasing, taking our hands back down to the mat, kicking back to our plank. Not staying here for very long, but again, think of that lift in between our shoulder blades. And we'll bring our bum up and back to our down dog. Swapping to the other side, so firmly planting our right foot and raising the left foot up towards the sky. We'll step forward into a low lunge, right knee coming down to the ground. Inhaling, reaching our arms up towards the sky, pulling up with our fingertips. Releasing the hands down behind our back, interlacing them, maybe seeing if you can do the opposite interlace, so it might feel a little weird. Trying to pull our palms down and away from our body. Again, shoulder blades drawing together. Inhaling for length and exhaling, maybe to ease more into our lunge. Releasing our hands when ready. Kicking back to our plank. Backing up to a down dog. Taking an extra moment here, thinking of facing or drawing your armpits to face towards each other. Allowing more broadness or spread of shoulder blades across your back, helping with stability in your down dog. And we'll slowly walk our feet up towards our hands to find a forward fold. Allowing the knees to be generously bent, maybe taking a little sway side to side, releasing the weight of the head down, maybe grabbing opposite elbows. And slowly allowing yourself to roll up. if you're moving through treacle. Your head coming up last. We'll turn lengthways on our mats and take our legs wide, toes pointing forward, or if you have tight hamstrings, you might find it beneficial to have the toes slightly inwards. I'm going to start with our hands on our hips to begin, making sure that we're standing quite centrally in our posture and we're not leaning forward or too far back. And we're going to do something called eagle arms while we're here. And there are loads of different variations or stages depending what works for you. The first stage is to give yourself a hug. Now we're going to start by having our right arm over our left arm. We will do both sides, but it's good to keep track of which way you've done first. While you're here, you're then going to rise your elbows up to about shoulder height. Now this may be where you stay. If you can already feel quite a strong stretch, as if you're pulling your elbows forward and spreading your shoulder blades across your back, that's perfect. Or you may decide to draw the tops of the forearms towards each other and maybe go palm to palm. You can maybe grab your thumbs instead, or have your hands like so, or come back to the hugging position. Wherever you are, you're acting as if you're pulling your elbows forward, and if you're at this point where your fingers or your palms are touching, it's fingertips up. So pulling out and up to feel that nice spread and stretch across the upper back. We'll take an inhale here, and when we exhale, we're hinging at the hips, so we're trying to keep a nice, I say flat back, obviously natural curvature of your spine allowed. Maybe coming about halfway, so still quite active, feeling it in the hamstrings. Thinking now of putting the elbows down towards the ground and fingertips pulling forward. And on your next exhale, allowing yourself to release the weight of the head down. Slowly rising back up. Usually you don't come up too fast. Releasing the arms, giving them a little bit of a shake. And now we'll go to the other side. So this time when you give yourself a hug, the left arm is on top. Inhaling, rising the elbows up to shoulder height. That pull forward of the elbows, pulling into the space in front of you. And maybe deciding to bring the backs of the forearms, maybe the backs of the palms together. Maybe grabbing your hands or going palm to palm. Pulling the elbows forward and the fingertips up. We'll inhale, and as we exhale, we'll hinge down. Coming about halfway. Elbows now pulling down, fingertips pulling forward. And the next exhale will release down towards the ground. And inhale will rise us back up. Release the arms, have a little shake. And we'll heel toe to make a way down to the ground. So maybe you have a little froggy squat down to the ground, whatever works for you, to find a comfortable seat. We're going to take our right hand and give ourselves a pat on the back, and take our left hand and just hold the elbow, allowing us to feel a stretch along this part of our arm. And making sure while we're here that we don't immediately jut ourselves forward, creating any tension in the back. Instead, we're still thinking of our core engaged, so belly button towards the spine, and ribs not flaring out, but pulling down. Maybe making sure that our shoulders haven't creeped up towards our ears. And using our inhales to bring the crown of the head up towards the sky. and our exhales to release and relax in the stretch. Releasing when ready. Maybe again you want a little bit of shake of the arms, and this time patting our back with our left arm and using the right hand to help enhance the stretch along our upper arm. Thinking of your posture again. Maybe this time, instead of the inhales, you thinking of you rising up towards the sky, you consider how grounded you are with the earth, maybe feeling your bum bones on the mat beneath you. Making sure there's not tension in the legs and the knees are creeping up, but relaxing down. Nice release of the arms. And we'll do a couple neck stretches before we come to our Savasana. Our inhales, rising us up. And as we exhale, we'll take the right ear down towards the right shoulder. Notice I'm not moving the shoulder up to meet the ear. You should start to feel a stretch along the left-hand side of the neck. And you can remain here or take your right hand and gently place it over your left ear. The weight of the elbow providing a little bit more of a stretch. And perhaps you take the left fingertips and walk them out to the side. Taking a couple breaths here. And releasing, coming back to center. Inhaling to sit up tall and exhaling to take the left ear towards the left shoulder. Maybe placing the left hand over the right ear, maybe walking the right fingertips out. One side may be different to the other, so you might take a slightly different variation, depending on how you're feeling. And do make sure you listen to your body and do what feels good for you today. Slowly releasing, coming back to center, a couple neck circles. So we'll take our chin down towards our chest. And we'll rock our head out towards the right hand side as if we're trying to kiss our shoulder. And slowly move it through towards the left shoulder. You can do a couple of these little 180 neck rolls. Or maybe take it into a full circle. Going one way and then the other. Rising your head back up to center. At this point, you can enter your Savasana or relaxation if you wish. Then you can lay down on the ground, palms up towards the ceiling, relaxing the weight of the body down and resting it on the earth. And please feel free to stay in a Savasana relaxation as long as you need. Thank you very much for joining me today for our first session of Weekday Wonders and yoga for the upper body. I hope you enjoyed it and see you tomorrow for yoga for a healthy spine. Thank you very much. Namaste.